Hey, perfect. Let's get started. Hi, everyone. Thank you for joining us today. I'm Darrean James, an account executive here at MapleLMS, and I'm excited to welcome you to our session on AI-powered learning recommendations for association members. We're going to take a look at how your members can take advantage of AI in an LMS to create more personalized, engaging, and effective learning experiences, and why that's becoming essential for member retention, certification, and overall value. A quick bit of housekeeping before we dive in. Today's session is being recorded and will save time at the end for a live Q&A. So if you have any questions as we go, please feel free to drop them in the chat or the Q&A box. We'll keep an eye on those and circle back at the end. I'm joined today by two of my colleagues who you'll hear from throughout the session. Matt, I'll hand it off to you to kick off introductions.
Thanks, Darrean. I'm excited to be here. I'm Matt Peterson. I'm the Relationship Director with MapleLMS, and I work with associations and nonprofits exclusively on their continuing education professional development programs. Real excited about this topic. MapleLMS is rolling out a number of AI features in the next month, and today we're going to be focused on how AI can fuel recommendations for users. So real excited about the topic, and you're going to get a sneak peek on some of these features and turn it over to you, Avin. Nice to have you with us.
Yeah, thank you, Matt. And just for introduction, my name is Avin. I'm a key account manager. I'm also the customer training manager with MapleLMS. I've been with the company for about 4 years and been involved in several projects, work with several customers, and happy to be here, share some insights on this topic today.
All right, perfect. So let me give you a quick look at what we'll be covering today. Even if you wouldn't mind going to the next slide. Thank you. We'll start by addressing some of the biggest challenges associations face when it comes to member training, from low engagement to stagnant certification rates. Then we'll explore why AI-powered recommendations are becoming such a powerful tool for associations and what makes them more than just a buzzword. From there, we'll dive into how AI recommendations can be embedded directly into your LMS to personalize the learning experience and keep members moving forward. We'll also take a look at the competency matrix, which powers these intelligent suggestions, and how assessments and course history can drive even smarter recommendations. You'll also get to see a live demo of these AI features in action, and we'll wrap up with key takeaways and practical steps you could take to start exploring AI in your own learning programs. Whether you're just starting to think about AI or looking to optimize what you already have, there's something here for you.
Great, thanks, Darrean. Moving along, I wanted to talk first about some of the challenges faced by associations with their member training and education, and how these relate to AI. And we'll talk about resolving some of these issues. But first, you might have a static course catalog, and that can oftentimes overwhelm your members. Many associations do offer a large content-rich learning catalog that grows over time. And while that's highly valuable, it can often become overwhelming for members who don't know where to start or how to find content relevant to their goals. Without personalized guidance, members are left sifting through hundreds of options, which can lead to decision fatigue and ultimately disengagement. The second one is generic content leads to member disengagement. When all members are served the same one-size-fits-all content, engagement drops, and members may struggle to see the relevance of the material to their specific professional goals or interests, leading to low motivation or to complete courses or participate in programs in the LMS. Third, staff can spend too much time curating predicted learning paths, and association staff manually creates many of these learning paths and updating those learning paths for various audiences. So this not only consumes time, but it also makes it difficult to scale offerings or respond quickly to changes in industry trends. Associations often struggle to gain a clear picture of what skills their members are building, so it can be difficult to track skills progress and gaps. When they're in a learning journey and gaps still exist, that creates issues, and this limits their ability to measure effectiveness or design targeted interventions. The fifth one is low course completion and poor learning ROI. Low course completion rates can signal that members aren't finding value in the learning experience, which in turn affects retention, satisfaction, and the perceived ROI of educational programs. And for associations, this can translate into lost revenue and diminished member loyalty. In general, AI recommendations have the potential to revolutionize how associations deliver member education, turning a static one-size-fits-all experience into a dynamic, personalized learning journey. And by leveraging AI to automate curation, improve relevance, and track skill development, associations can boost engagement, increasing the learning ROI, and better serve their members' professional growth. And next, I'll be discussing how AI helps to overcome many of these challenges. We can go to the next slide. So the first thing is you can drive personalized and relevant learning experiences. So traditional LMS platforms offer the same course catalog to every member, regardless of their career stage, their industry specialization, or their learning preferences. And this results in a generic experience that can feel impersonal or irrelevant. So AI can help us to analyze data from member profiles, prior learning history, their professional interests, job roles, and behavioral patterns to recommend highly relevant content, rather than forcing members to search or filter through long catalogs. AI surfaces the most applicable courses automatically, and this personalization makes the learning journey feel tailored and purposeful, and increasing the likelihood that members will engage, complete courses, and return for more. Number two is to improve member engagement and retention. So low engagement with learning resources often translate into low perceived value from membership, which can lead to reduced renewal rates. Members may join for professional development, but disengage when they can't easily find valuable or interesting content. So AI can keep the learning experiences fresh and engaging by constantly adapting recommendations based on your user's individual activity and interest trends. It can provide nudges, suggest new content at the right time, and even offer gamified experiences or peer learning opportunities based on a member's behavior. As engaged learners an engaged learner is a retained member, and AI helps keep members active in the LMS ecosystem, which will translate into higher member retention, greater lifetime value, and stronger community participation. Number three, AI can support upskilling, certification, and continuing education goals. Members often look to associations for support in maintaining credentials, acquiring new skills, and advancing their careers. However, manually aligning courses to learning goals or certification requirements is difficult at scale. So AI can map learning content to specific competencies, certain certifications, or professional standards. It can recommend the next best course based on a member's progress, identify any of their knowledge gaps, and even suggest pathways that align with industry trends or in-demand skills. For CE programs, it can automate reminders and suggest content that meets renewal criteria. Number four is AI can save administrative time through automation. Staff can often spend significant time manually curating content, building learning paths, managing assignments, and responding to member questions about what to take next. AI will reduce this administrative burden by automating content recommendations, generating dynamic learning paths, and providing real-time learner insights. It can even automate communication flows like nudges and reminders based on the user behavior. So this matters to association because with limited staff and resources, associations can benefit greatly from scalable automation. AI allows teams to focus on strategy, their content creation, and member relationships rather than some of these repetitive administrative tasks. Finally, you can enhance member satisfaction with curated learning journeys. So we talked about how members can feel lost or frustrated when their learning journey lacks direction or doesn't connect clearly to their goals. And AI can curate meaningful learning journeys based on each member's objectives, their learning styles, and their professional role. This creates a guided, supportive experience that mirrors what members might get from a career coach or a mentor. And positive learning experiences will directly impact members' satisfaction and renewal. When members feel like the LMS understands them and helps them progress, they are more likely to perceive their membership as valuable and advocate for the association. So the final thought is by integrating AI recommendations into your LMS, associations can shift from offering access to learning to offering guided, personalized, and results-driven learning experiences. And this not only strengthens the association's value proposition, but also helps future-proof their members' education strategy in a rapidly evolving professional landscape. I'm going to now turn it over to Avin. He's going to explain exactly how AI works to create these personalized recommendations.
Yeah, thank you, Matt. And just on this topic, briefly, we'll look at how AI recommendations within the LMS can transform member learning. We have written down a few points over here, but I'll briefly talk about this and explain how these capabilities come into play. Well, at the core of this transformation is data and how how the system data intelligently uses it to deliver personalized learning experiences at scale. So let's start with what we call system analytics. The LMS pulls in insights from multiple data points like members' profile, their job title, geographic region, and their role. Um, and then add to that any self-assessments or feedback that's submitted, and the system begins to understand not just who the learner is, but how they prefer to learn. Now, based on that, AI recommends courses that match their skills and interests, suggest a preferred format or multiple formats, maybe short videos or maybe full-length modules, and even adjust the recommended frequency of learning. So it can also guide members through role-based learning paths or point them to maybe an advanced module that prepares them for certification. Then AI analyzes past course enrollments and completions. If a member recently finished a leadership module, the LMS might recommend a team management course as a next item. It's basically smart sequencing, so always nudging the learner forward with relevant and timely content. It also tracks assessment results and feedback. So if someone consistently scores high in technical areas, but maybe low in communication skills, the LMS can suggest targeted soft skill training. And this doesn't feel random, it feels curated. And then finally, the system brings it all together to recommend the right content in the right format at the right time, whether a member is preparing for a certification, earning continuing education credits, or looking to upskill for their next role. AI makes that journey smoother, smarter, and far more personalized. But apart from these points, I also wanted to touch upon one more item which is about competency matrix, the foundation of intelligent recommendations. Now, while AI uses behavioral and profile data to recommend content, the real intelligence behind personalized learning starts with something more foundational, the competency matrix. And the competency matrix is essentially a skills map. So it defines what skills are required for each role, career track, or maybe a certification pathway. Um, for instance, a project manager might need competencies in risk management, stakeholder communication, and maybe agile methodologies, while someone in a technical role might need data analysis, cybersecurity, or a specific platform expertise. And once this framework is in place, AI can begin to detect skill gaps. It does this by analyzing a member's assessment results, their profile, learning history. If a key skill required for their role hasn't been demonstrated or completed, the system flags it. And that's where the personalization begins. Uh, Also, the LMS recommends specific content to close the gaps. So whether it's a full course, a micro learning video, or a practice quiz, the recommendations are no longer generic. They are laser focused on helping the member move from where they are to where they need to be. These are then organized into structured learning plans, guided paths that combine multiple formats, short bursts of content, deeper courses, assessments, all working together to build a real competency. And the experience is progressive. So once a learner completes a path, the system unlocks the next level of content, whether it's more advanced skill, preparation for a certification, or even a leadership training. It's a dynamic journey that keeps adapting to the learner's growth. So the competency matrix isn't just a backend framework. It's the engine that makes intelligent AI-powered recommendations truly meaningful, aligning learning with the real-world roles and career goals. Um, Next, we'll also take a look at some of these capabilities in action within the system. So I wanted to move forward from here and dive into a demo. Just for a second, I'm going to switch my screens, and Matt, just let me know once the other screen shows up.
Yeah, we can see it.
Perfect. In this case, I'm going to walk you through a user's experience first. So how a end user can get some recommendations, and I've implemented a few items over here. So let's take a look at that. So we are logged in as a learner within this environment. Now I know it's a completely new user, and this account was just created today, and so far just has one course that's assigned to them. If you notice on the left-hand side, that's where a recommended courses section reside. And currently, I'm getting one recommendation for a CompTIA A+ certification course with an option to enroll myself. Now, in one scenario, let's say if this learner or this member was interested in a particular content type, maybe leadership, and they go in, they find a course around leadership. Let's just make some space and look at this course over here. And let's just say this user enrolls into that leadership specific training. So with that, I've enrolled over here. And what should happen at this stage is once this user completes the modules, or let's assume once the user completes the overall course, they should get recommendation, some more additional courses relevant to this topic. So at this point, this user has shown interest in a leadership fundamentals online course. Now for a system, or for the system, it's basically an indication that this participant is interested in leadership training and wants to know more about leadership. So maybe if there are similar courses available within the system, it's going to find those courses, recommend those courses to the individual once this particular training has been completed, because it also needs to see whether a learner is truly interested in that topic. And one way to identify that is based on completion. So if I log in, come to this course, and let's say simply go through all the modules, I'll be completing this particular course right over here. Let's say we watched a video. In this case, this is also an interactive video available in this course. Well, let's say the user came in, watched a video, engaged into a few more learning modules, and once the user has 100% completion, or maybe earns a certificate in this type of training, then the individual or the user can get more recommendations from the system about the similar topic. And we'll see an example of that. But so far, assume that we've completed a few modules. We are now landed into the assessment. We do have some progress over here, about 60%. I'm just going to close this out, make more room for the assessment, and go through some of these questions just to make sure we're just not randomly picking wrong answer choices. However, it's all configurable. So usually when you set up an assessment, you can tag an assessment, well, not tag, link a competency to that assessment as well. Particularly if you're also interested uh, in providing uh, recommendations based on competencies of an individual. So here, I'm just going to go with a few answer choices. So I haven't really applied any criteria over here, but I just wanted to demonstrate how the recommendations would work. So let's go ahead and complete this test. Once I complete the test, well, leadership is the foundation of high performance teams, something like that. Let's just say that's a response. We finish our attempt and now proceed further into this assessment. So it's not yet graded because there was an open-ended question. Clearly, that will have to be graded by an instructor, but the quiz has been completed. And my goal with this is to complete all the modules or participate in all the modules. So we see 100% completion, and that way get some recommendations within the LMS. So let's add some feedback, good learning experience. And let's say we also prefer recommending the course to others. With that, we've completed the questionnaire, which unlocks my certificate of completion as well. So on the next page, I'll see an option to get a certificate. And there we go. So Mark Jacob has completed the Leadership Fundamentals online course. Date of issue can be found right over here. And now if we go back, let's say to our dashboard, we can now see this course in our list. And earlier, when we looked at the recommended section, we just had one particular recommendation from the system, which I believe was about CompTIA. But now let's go to recommended courses. And what you see now is there are two more courses that are relevant to this topic of leadership and leadership development. So Foundations of Effective Leadership, Strategic Leadership in Action, Leading Teams, Driving Results. I can now choose to enroll myself in these specific courses. So let's say we do that. And we then have access to the recommended content right away. But just like that, after completing a course for a training in a specific topic, system was able to identify the need of an individual, find relevant courses within the system, and recommend similar courses to the individual right in the recommendations section. That's basically how recommendations would work. Uh, Clearly, there are a few more items to it, like competencies that we talked about. So individuals might engage in maybe a learning plan which has several competencies available. Once they get proficient with a particular competency, the system can recommend relevant courses to them, relevant trainings to them. And in addition, users do have an option to find courses that are linked to these competencies. So let's say leading high performance team. That's a course. And if we come back, strategic thinking, I'll be able to find which courses are linked to that particular competency as well. Now, with that, I also wanted to go into an administrator's view and look at some of these items over here. Firstly, about looking at the competencies of an individual. So you can also track what competencies an individual is proficient with. We're looking at the same user's account. And this is also something which AI would take into account. So in this case, this individual is proficient with 2 out of 3 competencies within this learning plan. So proficient with strategic thinking, team leadership, and now needs to participate in a change management course, which would basically uh, complete this learning plan for the individual. And in addition, the way this recommendation could work, again, this participant would uh, go into a course that is linked with that particular competency. So they'll find a change management course, and it doesn't really have to be one. There might be multiple courses that a user needs to take before they're rated proficient or not proficient. But that's how the data is captured within the system. And with all of these data points in place, the LMS is able to identify and recommend the relevant courses, or I should say, AI within the LMS is able to identify and recommend relevant courses. We also talked about, and sorry about switching back and forth, but we also talked about a profile of an individual. So if a user's profile contains several topics that they're interested in, then it'd be a lot easier for AI to recommend courses to the individual. Now, clearly, you need to have that content built out within the LMS, and even based on some other parameters like education of an individual, or maybe their membership type, or maybe something else. The system will get that data, feed to the AI, and AI will then generate relevant recommendations for the participant. But that was really a short demonstration around how a recommendation can come into play. And we just saw a real-time example of this recommendation engine where a participant gets recommendation from the system just because they completed a course and that there are relevant courses available within the system of the similar topic. But from here, I'm going to redirect back to Darrean and go back to our slides to talk about next items.
Thank you so much, Avin. Before we head into Q&A, let's take a moment to recap what we covered today. We started by looking at the challenges associations face with member training, from disengagement to low certification completion. Then we explored why AI-powered recommendations are such a valuable solution, helping personalize training, reduce staff workload, and drive better outcomes. We also broke down how features like the competency matrix, assessments, and course history fuel these intelligent recommendations. And you got to see a quick demo of those AI features in action, showing how it all comes together in the LMS. The key takeaway: you don't need a massive overhaul to make an impact. Start small, test, measure, and scale what works. AI can meet you where you are and grow with your learning strategy. And with that, let's open it up for Q&A. If you haven't already, feel free to drop your questions into the chat or the Q&A box, and we'll take a few minutes to answer as many as we can. All right, so we do have two to start. They're kind of the same thing. So I'll kind of put them together, but how do AI-driven recommendations adapt over time as member behavior and content libraries evolve? What happens if a member's interest or career goal changes? Does the system adjust accordingly?
Yeah, that's a great question. And they are somewhat related because we're talking about how AI changes when content changes, when your member behavior changes, or when their interests or career goals change. Even I think you had some thoughts on this, right? How the system will adapt.
Oh, sorry, just was finding the mute button. Yeah. Um, AI-driven recommendations continuously adapt over time by learning from user behavior and content changes in the system. Firstly, behavioral data tracking. So the AI monitors how members interact with content, what they view, complete, or have rated a particular item, or even abandon. And this data feeds into machine learning models that adjust recommendations based on evolving interest and habits. Also, as members complete assessments or courses, their competency profiles are updated. The AI then suggests new content that targets remaining skill gaps or builds on mastered topics. And when new courses, so let's say you have content library updates, when you have some new courses, maybe micro learning modules or certifications added to the system, the AI includes these in its pool of possible recommendations. Older or less relevant content can be deprioritized, but then AI also learns from the behavior of similar users. So if other users with similar roles or interest engage with certain content, it may be suggested to the member as well. And lastly, I would say learner ratings, completions, and performance feedback help the system refine its algorithm over the time, ensuring recommendations become more personalized and more relevant. So I just hope that helps.
Yeah, that's great.
Awesome. And then we do have a couple more questions. Can AI help identify gaps in our current course offerings or curriculum?
Yeah, I'm happy to take that one. So yes, AI can analyze patterns in your learners' behavior, their engagement level, their skill assessments, and it can detect where content is lacking or where learners consistently struggle. And this will help you refine your curriculum, address unmet needs, and really prioritize new course development in a data-driven way. Great question.
Great, perfect. And then we do have one more. How do you see AI transforming association learning over the next 3 to 5 years?
Avin, some thoughts on that?
I'll let you take that because you
Okay.
work closely with associations, so clearly.
Yeah, one thing that I do see as a big opportunity, and we'll be rolling out this feature as well, is a virtual tutor. So, particularly for on-demand courses where there's not really anyone to ask a question, to use AI to respond to learners' questions. And the idea is it's able to scan all the content and continue to learn and get better over time and provide appropriate responses. I also see AI working hand in hand with predictive analytics. So with predictive analytics and AI feeding a predictive analytics model, it can really anticipate any skill gaps and training needs for a learner. And the also thing is smart content curation. So many LMSs are helping content creators in terms of generating content, but I also see this maybe going even beyond it, that AI could create content for a learner based on their needs and keep them engaged without any manual intervention or content. That may be a pie in the sky, but I don't think we're too far off from that. So thank you for all those great questions.
We did have two more just roll in really quickly, and then we could wrap it up from there. But how much data do we need to have in our LMS for AI recommendations to be effective?
I'll take that. Well, in simple words, as much as you can, because AI it always feeds on data, so you definitely need data for that AI to do those recommendations, find appropriate items, and not just data, also content is something to keep in mind. We're talking about recommendations, so definitely to recommend relevant content or courses, we need to have those built out. And then AI needs to have at least some information about your users, like maybe their interest, maybe their roles, maybe their titles, if they work in a particular industry, or a segment. So maybe that level of data would be good to start with, but obviously it's best to feed more data as time goes by, and your recommendations just get stronger and stronger with that.
All right, beautiful. And then the last one is assume that the AI is only indexing information within the LMS database. Is it indexing onto the content itself, for example, onto the course or video, or is it just indexing the descriptions, titles, etc.?
I think it's taking into account the full content. So whether it's a video, whether it's a full PDF, it's certainly not just based on course title or descriptions. It's really based on the full content. And the idea is too, and this is going to be an option if you want the AI to search the entire LMS to answer questions or index for recommendations, you have the ability to do that. So all that's kind of supported with these AI tools. Boy, we had some great questions today. We appreciate everyone's engagement.
And I'm
Yeah,
just
And
gonna add on
Darrean,
top of it, Matt.
yeah,
So
yeah.
what you mentioned, I'm just gonna add some items on top of it. There are some default items that the AI would index. So clearly, number one would be metadata. That's your course titles, descriptions, tags or keywords, skill mappings, author information if that's available, and then maybe audience or role alignment, completion data, and learner ratings as well. So this metadata gives the AI a high level of understanding of what each piece of content is about. And then clearly, as Matt mentioned, it's not really specific to descriptions and many more. You can open up the doors to look at your content, particularly videos or any such other content that you have in the LMS.
Great, thanks. Okay, well, I think that's it. I'm going to turn it over to Darrean, and she's going to close this out. Thank you, everyone, for your engagement with the questions.
Thank you. Yeah, so thanks again for spending time with us today. We hope that this session sparks some ideas for how your organization can better support members through smarter learning. If you'd like to talk more about anything we covered, from AI features to implementation strategy, please feel free to reach out. Our contact info is right here on the screen. We'd also love to hear what you're working on and how we could support your goals moving forward. On behalf of all of us here at MapleLMS, thank you again for joining, and we hope to connect with you soon.
Thanks,
Thanks,
everybody.
everyone.